Okay, I think I need to set something from the beginning. I could not watch this show continuously due to multiple streaming problems I was going through while I was watching this. So because of that, I'm not going to be rating every match. Just the ones I had like a clean or mostly clean view of what was going on. But anyway, I just got finished watching Payback, or WWE's Payback, and I guess I'm gonna just do a quick little rundown on it. This is gonna be a little more results oriented and speculation oriented because, well, as I said, I couldn't really analyze every second of the match. Anyway, the kickoff pre-show thing was between Damien Sandow and Sheamus. The crowd actually really seemed to like Damien Sandow, and I think Sandow was the best part of the match because he did pull out some different offense, and the tenacity and persistence that he displayed was actually pretty fun to watch. But there was something just very empty about the rest of the match. And the thing that really dragged this down for me was the fact that on a pre-show or a kickoff, there was a commercial break. I'm not even kidding you. And it wasn't even like a commercial WWE made money on. It was just to remind us, oh yeah, Cena Ryback is on later on. Is on this card. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to forget about that. Anyway, Sheamus wins, of course. And yeah, I gave it 5 out of 10 because it only had a few good things. Mostly it was just like average or just like below average. And of course, the fucking commercial break. Anyway, next on the actual card, it's the opening match was Curtis Axel versus The Miz versus Wade Barrett for the Intercontinental title. Yeah, this is where my problem started. I could not see the match very clearly. At the most heard the audio clearly, but not that clearly. But the ending of the match was that The Miz had Barrett in a figure four, and then while he was in that figure four, Curtis Axel jumped into the ring and pinned Wade Barrett while he was in the submission and won. I would technically figure that would also be a pin for Miz, but whatever. I'm using Ric Flair logic. And the winner and your new Intercontinental Champion is Curtis Axel. It's an interesting decision, and it looks like they're still teasing the continuation of Triple H in the feud. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. After this was Caitlyn versus AJ Lee for the Divas Championship. This was actually a better match than I expected. There were actually a few brutal moves here, and I kind of like the stark contrastingness they tried here, where AJ displayed some actually really athletic and limber moves, and Caitlyn hit a lot more power-based stuff. It was actually pretty cool to watch, and the different offense was what kind of made this a good match. The only problem was its pacing and just the overall psychology of it all just I don't think worked that well. And that's what I think held this match back. But anyway, AJ beats Caitlyn, I believe, with like an octopus finisher, and your winner and your new Divas champion AJ Lee. I give the match 7 out of 10. After the match and backstage, they had Caitlyn trying to get Simpy out of the crowd. The crowd, I don't think had it, but there was a Chicago crowd, so they're not really fond of women's wrestling anyway. This might have worked in any other town, and I think for what some people wanted to get out of it, or for what some of the audience's reactions I've heard, it actually did seem to get some kind of reaction. After this was actually a little bit of a table segment. I do like these table segments they've been trying to put in with this time it was with Josh Matthews, Big Show, R-Truth, and Cody Rhodes. It was a fun way of trying to look at all the results of the previous matches while giving these specific guys chances to show off their mic skills. After that was Kane versus Dean Ambrose for the United States Championship. Crowd loved Ambrose, but this match had a lot of problems. Ambrose's offense didn't look very believable, mostly because of the size difference. And because the crowd liked both guys, the reactions to either of their offense was just not very large. The whole thing just felt very uneventful, and it didn't feel like really anything happened at all. And because of that, it felt like just a buffer match. It really didn't feel like there was anything to this match, and I think that was its biggest problem. I gave it 3 out of 10. I felt it was just really lame. But then again, it seems as if this is supposed to be a start of a feud because Dean Ambrose retained his title via countout. Anyway, this next little bit was one of the most. Actually, no, these next two bits were the most surprising parts of the night. They showed a vignette of Rob Van Dam and saying he's going to return at Money in the Bank. So yeah, prepare your 420 traditions for that one. Anyway, and after that was a really surprising match. Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler for the World Heavyweight Championship. From the beginning, they reversed the roles of the heel faces. Dolph Ziggler pretty much acted like a good guy from the beginning, and Alberto Del Rio acted like a bad guy basically from the beginning. And you know what? It really, really worked because they actually used Ziggler's injury as part of the match, and Del Rio's target was just Ziggler's head. And because Del Rio has such heavy hitting kicks, and he just kept on going with it, it really, really worked. And what kind of just cemented it in was the commentary. They really sold the fact that Ziggler was just fighting a gutsy turn, or fighting in an incredibly gutsy way, and that, and his persistence and just not letting anything go was actually just really pretty heartbreaking to watch. The finish of the match is also what really made this match work. It was that Ziggler lost after pretty much taking everything he could. It was just one too many Inseguras for Ziggler to handle, and Alberto Del Rio won. So winner and your new World Heavyweight Champion, Alberto Del Rio. Anyway, after that was a short little second segment, but then it came back. Then Alberto Del Rio came out, and he actually started acting like a good guy, but there was something a little bit subtly different about this promo because he seemed much more self-congratulatory, and this could be the sign that things are going to be different now. So anyway, after that was Chris Jericho versus CM Punk. First of all, I must comment, Wolverine Punk. Yeah, that just has to be said because I thought it was hilarious that CM Punk has apparently grown out his sideburns and it makes him look like he's trying to look like Wolverine. But yeah, this is where the signal for my video feed was starting to die again, so I really missed a lot of the match. I only saw the first half, which was really, really slow. But anyway, Punk wins via GTS. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Chris Jericho. He's lost pretty much everything, and I'm not sure if they can really go with anything besides mid-carders at this point, I should say. After this was Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan for the Tag Team Championships. My feed was still ass, so I didn't know what was going on. But anyway, Shield won. There really wasn't much going on here, and it didn't seem like nobody really turned. Yeah, not much seemed to happen. And finally, John Cena versus Ryback in a 3 Stages of Hell match. This felt just like business as usual for both guys. There were only two really interesting moments in this match for me. The first was when there was like a lumberjack brawl outside, and John Cena jumped out and vaulted on top of them. That was cool. And then the second way was how Cena won the third and final fall. He did an attitude adjustment onto Ryback through the roof of the ambulance, and because of that, he landed in the bed. And that's how Cena wins. Other than that, this match sucked. It just felt so slow, and it felt so boring. It just felt like nothing happened, and how do you have this kind of match and not have it be grandiose or large in scale? It just felt very every day of The Office. Those two moments aside, I just didn't feel like this match was really worth anything. John Cena retains, of course. And, business as usual. I give the match a 3 out of 10. So, what about in this pay-per-view as a whole? A lot of people are calling it the pay-per-view of the year, but I really don't know because so much of my time trying to watch this pay-per-view has just been in front of screens of stuttering images and incoherent audio. So, yeah. Perhaps this maybe this is why I was probably trying to have more of a result on the have a bigger focus on the results rather than the matches because I couldn't really watch the matches very clearly. But okay, let's speculate where things can actually go off from here. Damien Sandow, it'll be difficult to know what Damien Sandow can really do. He's been getting more sympathy from the crowd, and Sheamus hasn't really been getting any energy out of the crowd. So it'll be really difficult to know where they go from here. Curtis Axel being the Intercontinental Champion, I see him actually feuding with Triple H still with the title, and probably Triple H winning it at one point. But it'll be difficult to know if they go that way. After all, they did pretty much outright say Curtis Axel is beneath Triple H. Caitlyn versus AJ Lee. This could be the beginning of like a resurrection angle for Caitlyn. Now that she's pretty much hit the lowest point she ever will, they could try to go back where she's trying to fight up against AJ Lee. But then again, AJ might have turned babyface a little bit when Dolph seems to have turned babyface, but that's another thing. Kane versus Ambrose, I do think is going to continue, and probably at Money in the Bank, there are going to be two of the competitors in it, and Kane is, and that's going to be one of the mini feuds going on in that match. RVD, I don't think he'll be a regular. He'll probably be a personality, but Mike's skills were not Rob Van Dam's strongest suit. I don't exactly expect to see him tearing it up on commentary. ADR versus Dolph Ziggler is going to be the most interesting to watch because ADR, this could be a double turn where, sort of in the vein of Brett and Austin where where they both turn at the same time. Dolph becoming a babyface could work, but it's unknown whether it will because they've never really tried it, and you just don't know if Dolph can pull that off at this point. And ADR being a heel, it could be. I think they could go with like the Kurt Angle thing where he thinks people really do love him, and he just acts like kind of a jerk and starts to take that for granted, and that could work. CM Punk. I'm not really sure where they can go with Punk. I don't know if they're going to put him back in the main event. They could have him feuding with the Wyatt family, and that would be really interesting to watch. I'm pretty sure Chris Jericho is going to take more time off. Randy Orton. Randy Orton, I'm pretty sure, is not going to turn. I'm not sure if he's going to turn heel or not. But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Randy Orton. It feels like they're really scared to do anything with him because he has 2 strikes against him. Daniel Bryan, I've heard they want to put him in the main event, but it's difficult to know if they will. Shield. I see them basically continuing on what amounts to an unstoppable rampage. Cena, he'll be Super Cena forever and ever. Forever. 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 And Ryback. I don't think Ryback can come back from this. Like, what the hell can they really do with him now? Yeah, so much of an unstoppable monster. The real unstoppable monster is Super Cena. Yeah. So yeah, that's where things are seem to be going with this. With after the events of Payback. Tell me what you thought of the actual matches because I couldn't really watch them that well. But anyway, leave some comments down below, and I'll be trying to read all of them. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. This has been Mr. Sanders.